Hello, welcome to the Mandingo Way podcast. This is Habeeb Akande, and I'm recording a special episode all the way from Los Angeles in the United States with a very special guest, Vida Guerra, the world-renowned model, actress, and also a podcast host. I want to speak a little bit. With Vida about her life and her modeling career, what success is like in Hollywood, and also her transition from the modeling and acting world into the world of podcasting with her show, The Heaven with Vida show. So, first and foremost, hello Vida, and thank you very much for being on our show.
I thank you so much for coming all the way over here and being on our show. It's been a pleasure. You've been amazing on the phone the last two times that you've been on it. So I'm glad that you're here, firstly, because now I can put, it's different. Just hearing a person's voice, but you feel the person's energy right when you're in their presence. So it's nice. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So I want to answer a few questions. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who are you and what do you do? Again, for those people that may not know about who Vida Guerra is.
Okay, so back in the days, I'm like an OG, they would call it, right? In 2002, I was doing a regular job. I was a loan officer for a mortgage company as a broker. And overnight, my world changed because, previously, 4 months before that, a friend of mine, it's my ex-boyfriend's friend, he submitted my photos into FHM magazine. And I went and did a photo shoot for FHM magazine. I always said I wanted to model and I was going to be in magazine covers, and people were like, how are you going to do it? My whole life. This is something I've been saying since I was 8 years old. And we escaped from Cuba, and I got to the States at 6. So how did I go from 6 years old to 8 years old to I want to be this famous model, actress, and singer? And what had happened for me was I was 28 years old. So I had a lot of people saying, you're not going to do it, you're too short, you're this, you're that, da, 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 da. I'm like, okay, well, you'll see, and the great thing is that I had a vision where I was going, but I didn't even know how I was going to get there. And it just happened for me one day. I did the magazine, and as soon as the issue came out 3 months later, people were going crazy over my picture. It was 5 other girls. And I just think that people can feel energy, right, through the pictures, because there's so many beautiful women out there. And for me to have the success that I had instantly was amazing, and it was overwhelming at first. So, from that, I ended up getting fired from my job because I was missing more days than, and I knew how to be a closer underwriter, and also a loan officer for my company. So if someone was out, I would fill into any department I could fill in. And then now the person that could fill in was missing a lot of days. My boss was like, I'm gonna have to let you go, and I'm so sorry because you're an asset, but you're not here, So I was like, this is so here I am, the most famous girl at that time, and I was completely broke and not working, because I was just doing this and transitioning into a new space that I had no experience in. So, fast forward, I did that, and, so that was 2003 when I left the company, and I had a really big year in 2006, and then 2007 I started to see, I was getting so many indecent proposals and stuff like that, and I just didn't want to sell my soul, basically. So I decided to take the road less travel and go into a spiritual journey, and just to understand things, because I didn't understand a lot of things, and why things were happening and what I was experiencing, which led me to, when you go on a spiritual journey, you have no idea where it's going, right? So I was just being guided on what to do, and I just kept listening to my heart, spirit inside me, and I went through this whole journey. And then in 2014, I had learned so many things, and I had so much knowledge, but I wasn't talking about it. I wasn't saying it to anyone, in my close circle of people, but I wasn't using my platform. Because like one of my fears was something that did happen to me was like, oh, don't listen to her, she's just a pretty girl, she has nothing to say. And that was a fear of mine, to be judged. It's easier for me to take a picture than it is to actually speak, because to me I value that much more of like my spirit than a picture. Like a picture, I used to love taking pictures since I was a kid, and I was taking the same style pictures. Yep. Which, like at that time, I mean, people do it now, but it was too sexy for people, and people, they wanted to label me and typecast me as something else. So it's been a journey. So in 2014, I got really sick and I almost died. And I had months to sit there and just think about my life. And then I was like, okay, I need to speak and I need to create a show or some kind of something that I can just share this information with people. So I started on my Instagram, and not on my actual page, but on the, the stories, the IG stories, and people, I was getting so much response from that. People were like, oh my God, you've helped me out. It's like you're speaking right to me. And every time I post something, I don't like, oh my God, I gotta post something, or I just do it intuitively. Some days I have more things to post than other days. Some days I'm like, there's nothing coming for me to like post. And I'm fine with it too. Like I don't put no limitations on me. Like spirit just doesn't want to speak to me today. And so I created the show with somebody else, and I gave the opportunity for someone else to do this show with me. And, unfortunately, she ended up talking junk about me in the show and the opportunities. And she accidentally sent the text message to me talking about me.
You? Wow, okay.
So, needless to say, that was September 19th. We had started the show in August, sometime in August. So it was like a month that I was working with this girl. And I was just like, wow. Now, I know when you're trying to do things, like for instance, me putting myself out there and like the experience that I've had and, getting people and creating more awareness, then you got some obstacles that do happen, right? And normally in the past, probably that obstacle would have made me like, oh, I don't want to go, like more fearful and like, I'm not going to go on the radio like by myself. But I decided to say, F it. I'm going to do it anyways. And I did. And yeah, and then I changed the name over to Heaven with Vida. And the reason it's Heaven with Vida is because one of my friends was helping me out, and he's like, people think like, oh my God, Heaven with Vida, in a sexual way. But my way is because I want to bring heaven on earth. I want people to live heaven on earth. And it kind of like both goes in with both things. So if I have to lure them with my looks, it's fine, but then like when I speak, then it can help somebody out.
That's profound, that's deep. I mean, I loved so much of what you said, especially the part about your energy. So like what captivated the people, like you said, a number of beautiful girls, but it was your energy what attracted many people to kind of like to stay with you when you did the FHM shoot, and obviously since then, and just looking at your journey, because you're speaking to your soul, even though you have some obstacles that come in your way, as long as you're following your soul, you're listening to your heart, you're true to yourself, those obstacles are kind of like challenges as opposed to that will kind of put you off. So I'm just interested also in your, I understand that you're a Reiki healer, so if you can speak a little bit about that for those people not aware, and what is energy, how would you describe that?
Okay, so I didn't know anything about Reiki, and I mean it's been around for such a long time, but it's so funny because as you change your perspective in your mind, and it's like new worlds appear to you, right? And I was in Costa Rica with one of my friends, and she had just became a Reiki practitioner, but she lives in New Jersey. That's where I grew up. And we were in Costa Rica for her birthday, and I had the worst cramps ever. And she's like, oh, let me do some Reiki on it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. She did it, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know what this is, but I have to learn all about it. And so when I came back to Los Angeles, I searched for a teacher, and I ended up taking the course, and I took my first, I'm level 2. So the next one would be a master. But a master is if like I wanted to teach it to other people on how to do it. So far the level 2 is perfect for me. You know, I can do it remotely if someone's far away. I can do the Reiki. So there's stagnant energy, right, that happens to you. So like, you know how like when people go to the gym and they move their body around, they feel better and it releases like stress and stuff like that. So when you have any stagnation in your body, and the energy in your chi is not flowing correctly, then that's when you have like pain somewhere or something like that. And the energy is, we're all energy beings, right? And I think society has put a label on like, oh, this is the epitome of what beautiful is, and you know what this is and what that is. And there's people walking around not feeling good about themselves, but they have the most amazing spirit, the most amazing, beautiful spirit. And there's people that are beautiful outside, and then their soul is so empty. And so it's like, when I say like energy, it's like your soul, your spirit, you know, whatever you want to call it. So energy healing is good because when your energy is flowing through your body, your life is flowing through your body. So like a lot of times, if people have a lot of roadblocks in their life, the best thing to do is to do some acupuncture, Reiki, especially in the liver area. When the liver is congested, or like do some type of like liver detoxification, and you will see like your life starts opening up more. So I do know for a fact, because I mean I can only speak for myself, that how energy is so important, and it's all about keeping your good energy. And like it's almost like the golden rule, right? Like you do unto others as you want done to you, and all you have to is just be, right? You don't have to. So many people are trying to like be this or to be that, whatever, but it's all about the energy at the end of the day. Because I've met people in the high places that made a lot of money, whatever, and their soul is empty, and you can just feel like heavy energy, you know. And then I've met people that have nothing, but they just have this light spirit about them, and their energy is so good, and you just want to be around them, you know. So energy is very important.
Fantastic. And my final question, what would you like your legacy to be then? How would you like people to remember you?
I would like people to remember me like I did something positive in their life, like somehow. Like I'll tell you, for instance, like when I was doing all the magazines, and you know, people made me feel bad for like, you know, taking sexy pictures. And then, you know, at that point in my life, I didn't know I cared about what people thought. But then as time and I evolved as a person, you know, I would meet these guys that were in Iraq that went to fight in the war, and they're like, you know, it was such bad, dark days, and your picture was like the light that made me keep going. And I said, well, that's a positive thing. So I just want to be remembered by, like, when people think of me, like, it's such a kind person. People always say I'm kind. And people always say, like, if they say I'm beautiful, I've heard that my life, you know, and it's superficial, but when they're like, oh my God, you're so beautiful inside, that to me is good. But yeah, just a legacy would be like, I did something. Look, I came from Cuba, we escaped Cuba, grew up really poor, and I said, you know, I was going to be here, and I did it. So that showed me my abilities and my thought process, because only I know, you know, all the things that I thought of, and how I created something that was amazing, that I created since a child. So like, if I can help someone transform their life for the better, have a positive, that's how I want to be remembered. So it's like, you know.
That's amazing. I mean, if I could just add my 2 pence, one of the things that I think of when I think of you, is your name, Vida. And obviously for people that aren't aware, Vida, correct me if I'm wrong, means life in Spanish.
Yes.
So I think when I look obviously at your posts, your images and especially your quotes, as someone that's given birth to life, so illuminating people. So like what you're saying, that's what I kind of think of when I'm thinking of you, is your name Vida, and obviously someone that's given life to kind of like to souls or to hearts or to minds. So I think hopefully that's something that you're doing, and hopefully you continue to do it.
Yes, I do say that, and I'm.
It's a beautiful thing because. I mean, even so, my name is an Arabic name, means beloved, and I used to hate my name when I was growing up.
Yeah, me too.
But one of my uncles used to say that you eventually will love your name and you're going to try and live up to your name, and that's why he's from Nigeria. But in Nigeria, it's important to give children like beautiful names, and then when they're older, for them to try and live up to their name. And obviously, when I got to my mid to late 20s, that's when I appreciated my name and I was trying to live up to my name. And that's why, like, similarly, when I think about your name and the work that you're doing, I do think that you're living up to your name, and I think that's definitely something, hopefully, that people will definitely remember you by.
I know, and hopefully not the war part, because the last name is war.
Oh, is that what Guerra means? It means war?
Yeah.
Okay, but Vida is your personal name, so Guerra is your family name, is that correct? Yeah, but Vida, that's yours, so that's even better, so I'm sure people... So
most people think, like, they're like, oh, is your name like an artistic name? They thought that I came up with that. I'm like, no, that's just the
it's actually
name
cool
my
playing
dad.
with words.
And it's such a contradiction.
Right.
And I think, like, I'm a walking contradiction, right? Because the way I am and the way people perceive me, they want to label me as something else, but then when they get to know me and they're like, oh, you're not. So it's like my name. It's life and war. They can't coexist, but they do.
But they do. Fantastic. And if you could just tell us a little bit about your socials, where people can find you.
At Instagram, it would be Vida Guerra, VIDA GUERRA, and the same thing on Instagram, Twitter, which I hardly use anymore. And they can visit my store. I'm opening my store up on this Friday in it's vidasworld.com.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great.
So they can visit. Oh, and then you can follow the show Heaven with Vida. And that's like positive quotes and stuff about the show. And then, that's about it.
And the show airs UK time 11 p.m. on Tuesdays and US time 3 p.m. PST, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so definitely check that out every Tuesday. So thank you again, Vida, for preparing, and hope I'll speak to you soon.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Bye.